Before you sign up for studio management software for your interior design business, here's what you need to know. There are 4 things these platforms don't tell you in the sales demo, and they matter. I've seen too many designers spend months migrating into a new system only to realize it doesn't fix the actual problem. I've been running design studios for over 20 years across Australia and Hong Kong and building systems for designers for the past 4 years. And here's what I want to know before I committed a cent. If you're at the stage of evaluating software right now, hit like because I'm going to give you details that will save you thousands, and this is no exaggeration, over the next few years. A like costs you nothing and it helps more designers find this. A quick note first, for a full free AI course for interior designers plus a growing library of templates and tools, you'll find it inside my free community, the Design Success Circle. The link's in the description. So here's the thing. The search that most designers are on, finding the one software that does everything, that search leads nowhere. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but here is why it matters. What studio management companies sell as an all-in-one is really a project delivery in one. They cover your project boards, your client portals, your time tracking, your procurement. That side of the business, yes, but your prospect pipeline, the leads you're working on before they become clients, not there. Your accounting, you still need Xero or QuickBooks. Your calendar, still on Apple or Google. So you're paying a premium subscription for partial coverage. That gap doesn't close just because the software has a beautiful interface. Once I understood that, evaluating all those platforms became a lot clearer. So let me walk you through 4 specific things to get clear on before you spend a cent. The first thing I want to show you is what these platforms actually include, because the gap is specific and it's worth naming clearly. I came across a designer on Instagram who's been running her studio for 2 years. She was using Monday.com, Notion and Xero. She was seriously considering studio designer, and she described herself as a very organized person, but feeling like everything was scattered. And here's what struck me about her situation. She already had 3 tools. She was considering adding a 4th. And the reason everything still felt scattered wasn't because she hadn't found the right software yet. It was because no single software covers everything she actually needs. Studio management software, whether we're talking programmer, studio designer, design files, House Pro, or newer options like Planify, they all cover broadly the same territory: project management and task tracking, a client portal for sharing concepts and getting approvals, time tracking, procurement and FFE management, some invoicing tools. And for the project delivery side of your business, these platforms do a decent job. But here's what's missing from every one of them: a place to manage your prospect pipeline, the potential clients you're nurturing, your emails, the quotes you're following up on, the people who've inquired but haven't committed, your file management. That whole sales side of the business doesn't exist inside these tools. And don't get me started on the actual business management, SOPs, finance analysis, a content management system. And for most designers running a small studio, that gap is real. So before you evaluate any platform, do this first. Write down every tool you currently use in your business. Then go through the studio software you're considering and be honest about what it actually replaces. Because the goal isn't to swap one tool for another. The goal is to genuinely reduce the number of disconnected systems in your business. If you're going to still need your accounting software, your email, your visualization software, something for your client pipeline, and a tool for content and asset creation, then you haven't solved the problem. You've just added another subscription to the mix. Moving on to the next thing, because this is the number most designers underestimate. Let me give you a sense of the current pricing. At the lower end, Planify runs around 25 euros per month for a solo designer. Design Files is around $69 US per month for a full service plan, with additional users at $25 each. Programmer in Australia is $49 per user per month, which for 2 people puts you close to $100 a month. Studio design in the US ranges from $69 to $109 per month, depending on your tier. So run those out annually. For a solo designer on design files, that's around $830 per year. For a small studio and programmer with 2 users, roughly $1,200 a year. For studio designer at the essentials tier, $830 per year for 1 person, and that climbs with additional users or higher tier plans. And none of this includes things like Xero, which most designers on those platforms will use for accounting. Add another $800 a year there, plus all the other tools you use. But here's the cost that doesn't show up on the pricing page: time. Setting up any of these platforms properly takes months. Migrating your existing client data, your product libraries, your project history, your templates, learning the system yourself, and getting anyone who helps you across it. I've heard from designers who spent 3 or 4 months getting fully operational, only to find that the platform didn't integrate with the other tools they needed. It becomes complicated, so they find it very difficult to onboard any assistance. So they have to do all the work themselves. That time investment is real, and it's the thing that makes leaving so painful if you decide the platform isn't right, which brings me to the third point. If you want a clear framework for evaluating any business tool before you commit, I've covered exactly that inside a resource in the free community, and you'll find the link in the description. Heads up, this is the one thing that most designers don't want to think about until they want to leave. This is the question I'd want answered before signing up for anything. Can I get my data back? Not, can I cancel my subscription? That part is usually clear in the terms. The question is, if I wanted to move to a different system, can I export a complete record of everything I've put in here? My client list with contact details and project history, my supplier communications, my FFE specifications, my financials, in a format that I can actually use somewhere else. For a lot of these platforms, the honest answer is partially, with friction. Some offer CSV exports of certain data types. Others make it deliberately difficult. Once you've spent a year or 2 building your business inside a platform, the idea of manually reconstructing all of that somewhere else is enough to keep most people paying, even when they're not happy. And this is what data lock-in actually looks like. It's not a door that gets locked behind you when you sign up. It's a door that gets heavier the longer you stay. With some of the small platforms in this space, that's a real risk. The truth is that AI is knocking on that door and it's not being let in. But more about that later. Before you sign up for anything, ask them directly, what can I export and in what format? If the answer is vague, or if it takes a support conversation to find out, that tells you something important about how they think about your relationship with your own data. This fourth point is one I want you to really sit with. These platforms are mostly built by small development teams, and small development teams face a few realities that affect you as a customer. They get acquired, they pivot, technology moves quickly, and occasionally they have to shut down. Mydoma is a good example. It was a well-regarded project management tool for interior designers. It's now been acquired by Studio Designer. If you signed up for Mydoma because you liked its pricing, its interface, its approach, you woke up one day on a different platform. You didn't choose that transition, it happened to you. There's also the technology gap. These platforms were built before AI became a practical tool for everyday business. The interfaces reflect that. Form fields, manual data entry, workflows designed for how businesses ran 5 years ago. They don't connect to the AI tools that are now changing how designers work. They don't use voice as an interface. They are structured in rigid ways, forcing you to adapt to how they work rather than how you work. The distance between what these platforms offer and what a well-built AI-connected system can do is growing every month, and some say every week. And there's a geography issue that doesn't get discussed nearly enough. Most studio management software was built for either the US, the UK, or the Australian market. The supplier libraries are regional. The tax logic is built around specific jurisdictions. If you're billing clients in a different country, working with international suppliers, or if your business has grown to operate across borders, you'll start hitting walls the platform simply wasn't designed to account for. A designer working across Hong Kong and Australia, or UK or Europe, or anywhere outside the software's home market is going to hit real limits. So the question to ask before committing isn't just whether this platform covers your needs today, it's where is this product going in 2 years? Does the team have an AI roadmap? What happens to my data if they're acquired or shut down? And does this platform actually support the countries I'm working in or want to work in? So here's where we are. The real cost of studio software isn't just a subscription fee. It's the months you spend building inside a system that still leaves gaps. It's the lock-in that makes leaving painful. It's the roadmap risk of building on a small platform while the technology is moving this fast. The designers who are building the most functional studio systems right now aren't the ones who found the best all-in-one platform. They're the ones who got clear on what their business actually needs and built towards that, often at a lower cost, with more flexibility and with AI doing a lot of the work that used to require a dedicated subscription. Now you know what to get clear on before you buy. The question of which studio software to choose starts to matter a lot less once you've worked out whether the studio software is actually the right answer for your business in the first place. There's a lot more on this channel covering the tools, systems, and software that actually work for design businesses right now. So join me and keep watching. And if you haven't already, come join the free community. Everything that I cover on this channel, plus the AI course and heaps of templates and resources is in there. Link is in the description. See you there.